Hi guys, in this video I want to show how I made a DIY Scotty rod holder right here, which is going to accept any of your standard Scotty rod equipment, such as that. Well, this is not something that I had to do. You can buy Scotty rod holders pretty cheap, but I figured why not? Let me give it a shot. Here you see I'm using just PVC. That's a cup link cut in half. That fits over 3/4 inch PVC. I needed a little extra thickness there because I was going to have to grind out the inside of the PVC pipe so that that star would fit inside. And first I had to widen out the pipe to accept this little flat spot here underneath the star. Now it was a matter of grinding out the PVC so that that star would fit in there. To mark where everything had to be, I put a little black paint on every little point of the star. And that marked the areas where I had to use the Dremel. A long, thin bit worked just fine. It was somewhat tedious, but I got it done. And now it fits in there nice and snug. And you can rotate it around and have that rod holder in any position you like. So I cut the PVC down, and now I had to add a little nub over here. Right where that pencil point is, there's a notch in the Scotty holder. There should be a corresponding little nub in the PVC part of this that prevents the whole shebang from jumping out if like a fish grabbed it or something, or if he tipped over. All I needed was a little piece of plastic or something to make a nub out of. This ought to work real nice. Here I take a hyper precise measurement. And I cut that little piece of plastic off. Perfect. Now I'm just using a little 5-minute epoxy because the hole is slightly bigger than that. No big deal, the epoxy filled the hole just fine. Once the epoxy was dry, I would cut off the extra part right there on the right. Beautiful. That works just great. Perfect. Now the rod holder won't just jump out after you turn it, just like it was designed to. And don't forget, if you're going to do something like this, you might as well just go ahead and not just make one. You might as well make, I don't know, 3 of them. Now on my kayak I had no hatch to access the inside of the kayak, so I had to cut a hole in the kayak first. And after the hole was cut, I wanted to make a cover for it. So I just used some thin plexiglass. Cut it to shape here and sanded it down. I actually made 2 of them. And here I'm showing you the piece of paper that I used as a template so that both pieces would be the same size. I marked the location of where the screws would be. And after the holes were drilled, I took the same piece of template and cut it down so that I could put a decorative accent on the inside of that piece of plexiglass. This was going to be the template for the leather insert, and it fits this piece. You just flip it over and it would fit that piece too. Here's the old dog jacket that I used for the leather. Again, you see the template there. I just lay it on top of the leather and use that to cut out the shape. Once the piece of leather was cut out, I used this material right here. This is glue. Strong stuff. If you spray both sides, allegedly this glue makes a permanent bond. I tried to be really careful with this part because you can see that the plexiglass has already been painted. This is a step that you might not need if you already have a hatch in your kayak, but I had to cut one out. It may not be the best way to do this, the most efficient way, or you know, you may not want to cut a whole bunch of holes in your kayak, but you know, if you do, then you'll have a unique system unlike anything anybody else has. Here you can see the bottom of it, so that water won't get inside the kayak. I put a cap on the bottom of that PVC, and I screwed a piece of wood to it, and the part I showed you earlier just fits in the top. So let's install it. That goes on the inside, the cap goes on top after I've glued them together. And they kind of snug together, the cap and the piece underneath. This way it can't really come out. But to prevent it from twisting, I put two little holes, one in front and one in back. And I added a couple screws. That makes that very rigid. If nothing else, it makes a pretty low profile access point for putting a rod holder. So I got that going for me, which is nice. So then all I had to do was screw that cover to the kayak and I was done. If you'd like to see more DIY kayak rigging, subscribe to my channel and check the introduction to this kayak video out, where I show how I do a bunch of other things like a live well and a micro anchor and even small stuff like this little measuring device right here. Thanks for watching, guys. See you out on the water.